Shall we do a rock to point? Let's shall. Okay, let's see which one. You got plenty in here to choose from. I don't know. Oh yeah, I remember this one. Let me see. Do I really want to tackle this one? This is going to have some defects and stuff. Yeah, this is probably the most challenging one. This is number 4. Yeah, it's this one. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'll do a rock to point, right? But these flakes that come off, I'm going to save them, and I'm going to heat treat most of them, but I'll leave some. Well, let's see. I'll heat treat half of them, and half of them will be raw, and that way I can compare the raw to the heat treat, as some of you have asked to see. So I'll be knapping the flakes that come off of this. Hopefully they'll be large in the beginning, so I'll have, you know, an adequate amount to compare in size. An amount in the size of each piece, not an amount in numbers of flakes, but or the volume, the size. Hopefully I'll get some that'll match in size, heat treated and raw, so that I can map the same point with the same size out of each one. You know what I mean? 2 different points, one raw, one heat treat, so we can see the difference. That's the plan. That's the hope. I don't know if it'll be the reality. We shall see. Because this is going to be new for everybody. I've not made videos, you know, focused entirely on the heat treat comparisons and all that. And sampling rock from rock sellers. We shall see. So I've got to be careful in the beginning here. Now, yeah, I got to make sure I don't lose track of these flakes. All right. Yeah, the flakes don't travel. And this is extremely tough. All right, let's do this. I forgot to grind this before I started. You know, grind this smooth. That'll probably help a little bit. Should use the grinder, it's a lot faster. The sander, I mean. All right. If I'm more careful with the platforms, will it make it easier to remove the flakes? Sometimes, yes. Not all the time. Sometimes it just doesn't want to remove, it doesn't want to cooperate no matter what you do, so you're going to have to figure out a way to deal with the way it's knapping. See, if I do a good edge, a lot of times it just crushes because it doesn't want to cooperate. So what I do is I just make doo-doo with what I've got. I will, you know, I'll live with that after preparing that edge that I thought it was going to be good. And then I'll do whatever I can on other edges and see how it works out. All right. So it can be flaked. I just gotta hit it so hard that it rattles my teeth. Not literally, but man, this is really hard. Yeah. Much harder than I would normally be hitting. These will heat treat nicely. You'll see. Okay. I don't know. I got to be careful. Yep. Always, you know, I guess always got to be careful, but when I remind myself, it's because I got to be extra especially careful. Just like right there. The defects in the cortex cause cracks to open up, so I'm hitting it expecting it not to break off, but the cracks in the cortex just expand out and take off too much. But I've got to hit downward to move that edge that way. Can't avoid the direction of the strike. Okay. Let's see. See if this works. I'm using the aluminum because it's bigger than the steel. So theoretically I could take off bigger flakes, but I might have to switch to doing only steel on this. Yeah, I probably could have done that with percussion. Yeah, I gotta stop doing direct percussion because I don't want to snap it in half. I'm not sure if this will snap in half easily. I'm getting to the point where it's getting thin. It's getting to where it could snap in half at any time. Yep. It is extremely hard. All right. I'm napping through some crud right there at the tip. How did they do this back in the day? With hammerstone probably. And end up with a small point. With metals and indirect percussion, I can preserve a lot of it. Whereas if I was using just hammerstone and antler, I don't think I could preserve this much of it. It would just be whittled down to a small point. But that's what they used to do. They whittle these down to small points in comparison to the original biface or spall or whatever. In many cases, the original biface was quite large. And it gets whittled down to a small point because of the need for large platforms on these natural tools, or for these natural tools. Now some might say, no, they don't need big platforms. Well, the way I knap, yes. Maybe I don't knap like anybody else. Maybe. But I don't try to do any special tricks. I just try to be expedient. So I don't see anything strange about that. Nothing out of the ordinary. Expedient makes sense to me, especially if you don't have much time. There's a crack in here, so I had to lose some of that tip. Yep. I gotta see what the extent of that crack is in there, so I'm gonna hit around it, remove material from around it, see how far it goes. Where it goes, nobody knows. So yeah, back in the day you would just hit it until it gets thin with direct percussion. A lot of times you'd see these broken in half among the artifacts. And if it did not break in half when you do the initial thinning, then you can just trim around the edges and you're done. You can thin these down with percussion, with direct percussion, with natural materials. If you have a lot of this material, which there is a lot of this still out there, and there was a lot of it back in the day. All right, here we go. Take some risks on snapping it in half. Did I remove the crack from the tip? I think I got it out pretty much. There's still a little bit there, but I'm going to have to lose a little bit of this whole area anyway, so it should come out when I do the final finishing on that tip. Should the whatever's remaining of that crack should be eliminated just by the act of finishing it out. I was going to take a flake there, but I'll wait. I might have to take a flake in the other direction first. I was feeling pretty good earlier, but now I got the blahs. Like I want to go to sleep. All right. I have to be careful not to cause any step fractures in the middle at this stage, because they're going to be a real pain to take out when it gets real thin. If I put any in there right now, they're going to be very, very, very difficult to remove later. as it gets thinner, as always. That's always the case, but it becomes extremely difficult when it's a very, very tough material. Just had to make sure it was seated well. When I do this, it's got to be seated on the edge well. It can't be sliding around. Any loss of energy and it will step fracture. Yep, same with anything. But this one you got to add a lot of force. Extra force. Yeah. And there's no logic, or how should I say, there's no real step-by-step reasons why I'm picking these certain areas, because I can hit various areas. I'll try to let you know if I should do one area before the other, kind of like a strategic thing. But I can work either edge right now. I'm just choosing to work this edge for an unknown reason. All right. Okay. It's dangerous with the step fracture. Yep. Probably gonna have one in there anyway, no matter what I do. We'll see. Is this easier to knap when heat treated? Yes, as long as you heat treat it well and not too hot. This stuff sometimes breaks up when it's just a tiny bit too hot. It'll break up, and maybe not in all areas, right? It'll just have one area that's super sensitive to heat, and you won't know it until you start thinning it down. It'll snap right across that super sensitive area. So yes, it can be knapped easier when heat treated, but it's a tiptoe through the tulips type of thing. You gotta be very sensitive to where it seems to be weak if you have it heat treated. Right now everything is pretty consistent, except near the tip it's all crackly. But this is not bad. The width across the tip is not bad, so if it's crackly and messed up, it's not hard to run flakes across. This is the hard part down here, to run flakes across. And I'm using the coarse abrader because it seems to be working pretty good on the edge to create a fast, dull edge. I don't want to spend all day on it. I don't think the fine abrader is going to have much effect on this really tough material. It's going to do more damage on the abrader itself than on the material. Yeah, it's really going through the... really eating up the abrader. Probably eating up the coarse abrader too. Alright, I've got to start looking at where it is best to remove lumps. Or where to regularize first. Make sure I remove the things that might be difficult later. Remove the lumpy areas that will probably be difficult later. It's all kind of crackly in here, so if I remove one now, yeah, see, it didn't run very well. It's supposed to run over the top of that. If I remove one now, it's easier than later. Supposedly. Alright. Could be this is getting too lumpy, so see, some root beer, this looks like root beer chert. Some of it has a chalky cortex, right? It naps differently than this, completely different, but it looks the same. So if you find artifacts made from root beer chert, or what looks like root beer chert, it could be the good stuff, or it could be this really hard stuff. You never know. It could be made from this stuff, slightly heat treated or raw, but I think if they had trouble napping it, they heat treated it, and this stuff is a good candidate for heat treat. Even if it's only lightly, if it changes it a little bit, it helps. Even a little bit of change will help. It'll run the flakes a little bit further and that sort of thing. I'm going to go to the steel. Yeah, let's see how that goes. I can deliver a lot more force in a smaller area with the steel. Okay. I can also pick at the tip without pulling on it. The aluminum grabs the edge a lot, so it'll pull, but the steel does not grab the edge as much. Why is that important? Too much pull on the tip can just pull it right off. You know, especially when I need to hit it really, really hard. Like that. If I hit that with aluminum, it may pull too much and then take a bite out or just snap the tip off. Might. I never really know because I didn't really test it first with the aluminum. I'm just assuming. I'm not taking any chances. Yeah, this concentrated force is a good thing. It's a wonderful thing. Yeah, the tip area. It's kind of worrying me, but we'll see. I'm getting worried I won't be able to thin it down like I want to. There's some junk right there. Dang, that's tough. All right. Did I make a bunch of stuff back in the day out of this? Yes, I did. When I used to go to Knappings when I first started, I brought this kind of stuff with me. A bunch of bull gravel to the Knappings. Excellent. Oosh, that was almost too good. Yeah, I would bring bull gravel to the Knappings and I'd be wailing away, just hitting as hard as I could. People were going, man, you get that pretty hard. Yep. Where'd you get that stone? Landscape supply. Really? That stuff's bull rock. What's bull rock? Yeah, I didn't know what bull rock was. Bull gravel, bull rock, same thing. And they said, here, try some of this. And it was like, oh boy, you guys have the good stuff. I thought all flint was like the stuff I get at the landscaper. Nope, it's not. Not by a long shot. All right. Yeah, see it. That would have worried me a lot with the aluminum, because I hit that really hard. Okay. How thin can I go? That's the question. I don't want to go any thinner than I need to. Yeah. Even for the video, I'm not going to risk it. Yep, back to my same old tricks. A little step there and a little step there. Alright. You see it, right? Step fracture there, and step fracture right there. Okay, I'm trying to narrow down why I do that, but I think it's because I don't want to overshoot across the tip. And it wouldn't be that bad for my own use. I would just leave it in. But for the video, can't do it. Can't leave it in. It's got to be taken out. Yeah. Just looks too lame. Lame. Let's see. I'm gonna try some heavy pressure. Yeah, okay. Nice sound. Yeah, only the raw stuff sounds like that. Yeah. Slightly higher tone, I think. Or it's just a different tone. I don't know. I don't know if it's higher or different. I don't know about tones. All I know is it sounds different when it's raw. Slightly different. Just a little bit. When I say slightly, I'm not exaggerating. It's just slightly different. Or I'm not understating it. Why am I worried about the tip at this stage? Because it's bugging me. I need to know if I can actually save the tip, or I'm gonna have to knap all that concrete out of there. It's not really concrete, it's the Cortex type stuff. It looks like Cortex type stuff, but it's interior Cortex. I don't know. It's chalky, a little bit chalky. There's no such thing as interior Cortex. Yeah. Cortex is always on the outside. And it's spelled with a C. C-O-R-T-E-X. I gotta get that step fracture out. There it goes. The same as always, just with more force. And maybe a little more grinding. Come on. Maybe. If the edge is too tough with the grinding, if it's too dull, it requires a lot of pressure. And it requires a lot of pressure to keep it from slipping off. If it's really rounded, it slips off. You gotta, it's not really pressure, it's holding it firm onto the platform. So holding these tips on the platform is part of the pressure process. It can't be sliding, because then you get a premature flakeration. Okay. Can't really use leg clamping, because if I do, you won't be able to see what I'm doing. So what I'm doing is I'm pushing off my leg and leveraging off the leg and using a lot of my wrist. Instead of clamping my legs together, I'm pushing with my wrist a little bit. I'm clamping a little bit, but if I use my legs a lot, it'll get lost down in, and you won't be able to see what I'm doing. Okay, this one I might have to do. All cramped in, or whatever. Yeah, I don't want to be doing that all day, but it does work. If I wanted to do it, it will work. Okay, I think I'm going to do the rest of this with the steel percussion tool. Much easier than trying to pressure flake. Although pressure flake gives such a nice edge. Yeah, pressure flaking does easily produce a nice thin edge. It's much harder to do that with percussion. Percussion makes it slightly more wonky, so you can kind of tell. You can kind of tell percussion sometimes because of the wonkiness that results. Because it does scoop out more. Just because you can deliver more power, you don't have to do it that hard. But I'm trying to thin it down, so I can do, pressure type flakes with the percussion if I just take it easy and don't try to scoop out too much. But I want to try to thin it a little bit more. Yeah, I can come back and use pressure on it to do the final sharpening. Ouch. See, that didn't go anywhere. That's not good. It's starting to get crunchy. Yeah, so much easier to work those areas with percussion. If I don't do that. Yeah. Now is not the time for damage control. Now is the time for just regularizing and trying to figure out what I'm going to do with it. I can't do anything fancy. I don't think it'll let me run a long, narrow flake. Nope. Nope, nope, nope. I wasn't trying for a long, narrow flake, but it widens out quite a bit. So I don't know. That's one thing about flattening that one side. Okay. Yeah, one side gets really flat and it's hard to run flakes across because it's no longer convex. And if you want to run a flake, you're in trouble. I was thinking, yeah, I could run a flake and try to get that lump off, but nope. Dang, that's tough. All right. Let's zoom out. I'm looking too much in the viewfinder. All right, what is that? Something with the camera is messing up. I don't know, is it overheating? No. Technology. All right. Eating great. Yeah, so now I'm just messing with it a little bit to get it regularized and thinned down for the final stage. Is it gonna do it? Probably not. No. It's already pretty thin, right? So, yeah, I need to leave it alone. Try not to do too much. Okay, let's try zooming in again. Nope. It's not gonna do it. I already got to get a new phone, huh? I'll just get the lenses replaced, I guess, first. 2 of my lenses are cracked. I suppose I can get those replaced first. Okay. All right. I shouldn't spend that much time on this one. Yeah. I just need to get it done. Right. Shouldn't spend too much time on this one. I got a bunch of other ones to do. Yeah, the flakes are running pretty good until I get to that area. But I'll get some practice down in here. Shoot some flakes down here, and then once I get the feel for it, yeah, I should be able to run a good flake into that area if I can set it up to where it's completely convex. No major edge issues. Let's thin out the base first. I always forget to do that. Yeah, I forget to do that, then I got to come back and do it later, right when everything's almost done, and I gotta do some dicey type hits. But if I do it now, these hits are not as risky. Yeah. Okay. I don't want to say it's good material, but it's pretty cooperative. Yep, it's pretty cooperative. At least in most spots on this one. All right. Can't slack off though, because as soon as I do it, it starts to step fracture. Step fracture is about not biting off too much. Don't bite off more than you can chew, but it's also don't hold back too much because you'll lose energy. Yep, that's why it's so hard to thin down a thin piece. that do anything? Kinda, sorta. It does not look like I can take a big old flake. Nope. This is a tough one. I need to take a big old flake into that area, but I don't know from where exactly. Just gotta, if I get a little bit closer, the edge might look a little bit better. I don't know. I like to try and see first if there's just a natural area for a flake to travel, instead of trying to create the platform. Yeah, I could try from the other side. Sometimes it runs better from the other side, but I already tried once and I hit that wall right there. I hit that. So, no. Alright, let's see. I don't know if I should have taken the glove off, but I need to feel what's going on here. Yeah. That was pretty good. Okay. That's the extent of those step fractures. There we go. Alrighty, that's it for the hard part. Now everything else is relatively easy. Relatively. Yeah. And luckily I didn't shoot a flake into my finger. Yeah, let's get the symmetry. Let's take some off of this side. Get it symmetrical. Okay. Come on. Yeah. Don't want no step fractures at this stage. Come on. Gotta thin out those thick spots. Yep. I can probably finish out with pressure. Except for a few thick spots. Yeah. Looks like they were thick for a reason. Yeah, it's all crunchy right there. Dang it. It's all crunchy. I'll have to get that out with pressure. Yes, no, maybe. Yeah, I'm not going to mess with any other lumpy spot that I see. With percussion. I'm going to do the rest with pressure. Okay. Yeah, no more messing with percussion. Let's take a little breather. Let's see. I'll collect some of those flakes up for heat treating. Yeah. I've got some good flakes in here that I can heat treat and compare. I can heat treat half of these and leave half of them raw and then nap them side by side. Yeah. Yeah, I'll just finish this with pressure. Okay. And I might not put notches in it, just offer it in the auction like this. No notches, no nothing. Alright. If that camera's going to be acting up, it's going to put a damper on all my videos this week. Yeah. That camera better not be acting up. It might be too hot, but I think it has to do with the actual camera software itself. That shaky focus. All right. Can you see? No, I'm afraid to zoom in and get all shaky again. Yeah, let's see. I wonder if I can lock it in. Am I able to lock it in? No, for some reason the zoom is not. It's just not working right. Yeah. It's got to be zoomed out. Dang it. That's not good. It's going to put a damper on my videos. There's always something. You're tough, but not that tough. Come on. That's not good. Come on. All right, I thought I had straightened out that symmetry earlier, but I guess not. I guess I took back that edge too much. Yeah, I guess I just took back that edge too much. It's all serrated right now. Yeah. I don't know if I like it. How do you knap it without getting serrations like that? You just gotta knap the flakes closer together. Those are kind of spread apart, so I'm getting kind of a serrated look. Come on, dang it. Come on, doing the same thing again. That edge doesn't want to knap well. Yeah, it gets all crunchy. That's why I lose a lot of that edge. That's why I keep losing the symmetry. All right, it's getting more and more narrow, and it's bugging me. I'm trying to thin down this edge, but it just keeps crunching. Yeah, I can work on this a little off camera and refine the edge, because it's bugging me right now. I'm taking way too much off. I'm pushing less here, but I'm removing more than here. I'm pushing a lot on here, but I'm not removing as much. This is a crunchy edge right here on this side, so I keep losing the symmetry. You know, it takes too much off of here, then I gotta remove a lot off of there. So if I do this off camera, I can pace myself a little bit better and figure out why is it removing so much here. And then adjust to it so I'm not removing as much, but at the same time, you know, getting it sharper than it is now. Yeah, it's being a little pain in the butt. And it's getting dull, I think. All right. I think maybe this is getting hardened also. Yeah, it's ironic that with a raw stone, the edge is durable, right? But just getting it sharp is the hard part. Once it gets sharp, it's durable, but just getting it sharp without crunching it, I can run flakes, but to get a sharp edge seems to be very difficult. And it's not focusing in on it's not focusing right, so you can't see it. Anyway, I'll leave it like this. Yeah, I'll just leave it. So there it is, just a leaf-shaped blade. Kind of thin. It was actually a little more cooperative than I thought it would be. It started out being extremely hard to remove flakes, and then it wasn't too bad. Yeah. All right. So that's it. Hour and 10 minutes. Good length for the video. Hope that was all right. Okay, that's it.